as we sit here today, since that meeting that you had with the planning board and the individual involved, as to what items you see as still existing that are violations that have to be corrected.
Okay. Number one is the biggest issue. She has to register with the municipality in order to operate a shelter or a kennel. In order to be able to obtain that license, she has to meet all the qualifications by the Board of Health. There's been another inspection done. An inspection was conducted on the 22nd. There still is over 20 violations. So for the last 2 years now, those violations are not getting any less. So we can't issue the municipal license without getting the Board of Health approval. So number one is not being complied with at all. And I really don't think that it's even going in that direction due to the history. Number two, on the 22nd, when I went out to do an inspection with the Board of Health, it was recorded that there was 94 animals on site. So she did get below the 100 max that was set by the planning board. Now, I don't know if it was just done that day or if they were moved out. I don't know, but on that inspection day, there were only 94 animals on site. Number three, the debris that was outside. When I went out that day to do the inspection, everything was cleaned up in the front yard, and I'd say 80% of the items are cleaned up on the side yard. There's still a large, looks like a mobile cage on the right side of the property behind the dumpster. There's some old siding and stuff piled up on the side of the building, and they took the bulk of the cages and some toys, I guess kids' toys, preschool stuff, and piled that behind the building. Now, part of my conditions was she would have to get a zoning permit if she wanted to put cages up out back, runs, which she did discuss at the planning board hearing, but we notified her that night that she would have to come back before the planning board if she wanted to put any outside structures up. I discussed with her that if she would come in and apply for the zoning permit so we could schedule her to get back before the planning board, that she would be able to stack those cages up neatly in the back, but she has to get rid of all the rest of the debris. At this time, the cages are stacked up out back, but there is still a boatload of, like I said, preschool-looking toys and some old cages and kennels piled up out back that still need to be removed. There was 2 piles of feces where it looked like someone emptied out rabbit cages and dumped them, one in the rear of the property, one on the side of the property. Both of those have been cleaned up. She did give me a written letter stating that the dumpster will be emptied twice daily. So I have that on record, so we would be able to, hold someone responsible for that. Number 6, she did come in and submit a zoning permit on last Wednesday in order to put the kennels in the back. So that will start the process of her having to go back before the planning board in order, it'll be up to the planning board whether she wants to, whether they'll approve for her to put any outside structures up. Number 7 is just as important as number 1. The same violations have been existing. We have 3 years worth of reports. All 3 years, there's been a minimum of 22 violations from the Department of Health, and the list has not been getting any smaller. So number 7 is still far from being completed. Number 8, again, was we had reported that they had built a room inside or refinished a room inside that they were going to do some animal operations on, which raised 2 more violations. 1, we got no permit on file to do any work inside the building for that portion of the building. And 2, I don't know how they would even think that they could do any types of veterinary service there without having any type of state approval or municipal approval for that. So we have nothing on that. Number 9 was, again, ties into the same thing. Number 10 is kind of a little offensive to me, the state had required that she post daily hours, and she has to have hours for the public to be able to operate the business. When I went out on the 22nd to do an inspection, there was a sign posted on the door that her daily hours of operation are between 10 p.m. and 12 midnight, Monday through Friday. So, again, if that's the normal time to operate a business, I would say okay, but I don't feel to be open to the public that would be normal operating hours. Since the inspection on the 22nd, which was after the day that, the last day that I met with the owner. There has been some additional violations that are not on this list that need to be addressed. What we had revealed when we went out to do the inspection was that inside the building, they moved the isolation room, which is on the permit that they did get to alter the inside of the building, the right side of the building. That was supposed to be used for an isolation room. That room has now been moved to where the main entrance of the building was. And again, there's some ventilation that was put in there we have no permit for. The room itself becomes an issue because there's only two means of egress outside of the building. Now, if you're not using that as your main means of egress, which she made it clear to us that they're not, the other means of egress is completely blocked because it's full of storage. So there's no clear path if there was an emergency in this building to get out at this point. So any time that something like that is done, a plan needs to come before not only myself as the construction official here, but it also has to go before the Department of Health, with a new plan of means of egress to get out of the building. The third issue was I had another thing reported to me that there looks like there was continuing multiple raffles and auctions going on at the property as a fundraiser. And after checking with the clerk's office, there's no record of that ever being registered. As we know, to hold any type of gaming or auction like that, it has to be registered with the municipality that then requires a ID number from the state. And throughout, this one goes back to their Jingle Ball function this year. There's been no record of anything ever being registered with the municipality. So there's 3 more violations that we need to address, in the meantime, that weren't on the initial list.